those are parents for the kids. They'll be watching the kids. They're parents for the kids. They just want to see their kids sing the national anthem and then they'll leave. So, okay, are you ready, sir? Good evening. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. I, Holly Wilford, Town Clerk for the Town of Pelham, called this meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, November 21st, and declare that we do have quorum. Mr. David Cribbs, Chief Administrative Officer for the Town of Pelham, will now read the land acknowledgement statement into the record.
Good evening. We begin this meeting by acknowledging the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and acknowledging reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous people. We're now going to have the procession in, and I would ask that all those that are able to please rise.
Thank you. We do now have the Glenea Green Public School Choir here to sing the national anthem, O Canada. Please remain standing.
With glowing hearts we see
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor-elect, I would like to welcome Justice of the Peace Bruce Phillips for his remarks and swearing in members of Council-elect. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. This is one of the nicer opportunities I get to do as a full-time presiding Justice of the Peace. Looks like a much nicer crowd than I'm usually used to dealing with. So I'd like to thank Holly and the members of the new incoming council for inviting me to participate in the swearing in of the oath of office. With that, the mayor.
You're ready. This is the declaration of office for Mayor Marvin Junkin.
Read the declaration of office, please. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Declaration of office. I, Marvin Junkin, having been elected or appointed to the office of mayor in the municipality of town of Pelham, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, and I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Your signature in two places. Right by my fingertips.
Thank you.
Second copy, please. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Ward 1, Mr. Kevin Kerr.
This is the declaration of office for Ward Councillor Ward 1, Kevin Kerr.
Just want to get you two to start by Kevin Kerr. Declaration of office.
I, Kevin Kerr, having been elected or appointed to the office of Councillor Ward 1 in the municipality of the town of Pelham, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, and faithfully and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, and I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Two signatures, please. One then. Second copy, please. Olson, from Ward 1.
This is declaration of office for Ward Councillor Ward 1, Wayne Olson.
Can I get you to read the declaration of office?
I, Wayne Olson, having been elected or appointed to the office of Councillor Ward 1 in the municipality of the town of Pelham, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, impartially execute this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, and I make this solemn promise and declaration, conscientiously believing it to be true, and noting that it is the same force in effect as if made under oath.
Brian Eckert, Ward 2.
This is the declaration of office for Ward 2 Councillor Brian Eckhart.
I, Brian Eckert, having been elected or appointed to the office of Councillor Ward 2 in the municipality of the town of Pelham, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, and I make this solemn promise and declaration consciously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is of the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Two signatures, one there. Put your badge. Congratulations. Thank you. John Winnick, Ward 2.
This is the declaration of office for Ward 2 Councillor John Wink.
Declaration of office.
So, I, John Wink, having been elected or appointed to the office of Councillor Ward 2 in the municipality of Town of Pelham, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, and I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing that it to be true and knowing that it is the same force and effect as if made under oath.
Two signatures. Bob Hildebrandt, Ward 3.
This is the declaration of office for Ward Councillor Ward 3, Bob Hildebrandt.
I, Robert Hildebrandt, having been elected or appointed to the office of Councillor Ward 3 in the municipality of the town of Pelham, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, and I will make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously believing it to be true and knowing that it is the same force in effect as made under oath.
Ward 3.
This is the declaration of office for Ward Councillor Ward 3, Shelley Niznik.
I, Shelley Niznik, having been elected or appointed to the office of Councillor for Ward 3 in the municipality town of Pelham, do solemnly promise and declare that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially exercise this office to the best of my knowledge and ability. I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of this office in a biased, corrupt, or any improper manner. I will disclose any pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, and I make this solemn promise and declaration conscientiously, believing it to be true and knowing that it is in the same force and effect as if made under oath. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. David Cribbs will now provide introductions to the town's senior leadership team.
Good evening, Council and the public. It is my privilege and my pleasure to introduce what I consider to be a small but exceptionally talented group of municipal professionals. Team, if you'd be so kind as to stand and introduce yourself as I call it your name. We'll start with Fire Chief Robert Lindberner. Mr. Jason Marr, Director of Public Works. Ms. Teresa Quinlan Murphy, Director of Corporate Services and Treasurer. Ms. Jennifer Sturton, Town Solicitor. Ms. Vicki Van Ravensway, Director of Recreation, Culture and Wellness. Ms. Barbara Weens, Director of Community Planning and Development. And last but not least, Ms. Holly Wilford, Town Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm Holly Wilford, the town clerk, and I look forward to serving you over the next 4 years. Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Davis, who now provide introductions to the other levels of government and the town of Pelham School Board trustees.
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Dean Allison is Pelham's Member of Parliament at the federal level. He's unable to join us this evening as he is in Ottawa. Mr. Sam Oosterhoff is our Member of Provincial Parliament, and he's unable to join us this evening as he's at Queen's Park. We are, however, fortunate to have Miss Nancy Beamer present this evening, who is trustee of the District School Board of Niagara. Mr. Paul Turner, also unable to join us this evening, newly elected trustee for the Niagara Catholic School Board. And also Ms. Joanne Thibodeau, trustee of the French Language Catholic School Board. Also unavailable this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Davis will now provide an introduction to the town's regional council.
This evening, Niagara Region has another event, and we tried to split the difference with his worship, our other council representative here this evening, of course, and Ms. Hewson's otherwise engaged, but Diana Hewson is the town of Pelham's other representative on regional council.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, we will now have the mayoral inaugural address. To you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I think I'll go and stand by the mic here. So, first of all, on behalf of council, I'd like to welcome our family members, friends, and the further town residents that have shown up for this. I consider it to be a very exciting event. It's the beginning of a new term of council. Also, I have to state that this is the first time that I've followed, well, this isn't the first time I've followed my CEO's advice, but it's the first time I have followed his advice when it comes to speech writing and talking in public. He told me as soon as he got here, about 2 or 3 years ago, he said, Mr. Mayor, if you want to become a great public speaker, and I just want to be a good public speaker, believe me, is you don't write the whole speech out. You write out the highlights and then talk to the highlights as you flip through your notes. And so tonight, this will indeed be the first time I speak from notes, and we'll see how that goes. And by the way, I of course procrastinated writing this speach. I waited till Saturday afternoon, which was 2 days ago, so that's fine. But of course, with the traveling, the roads the way they were, not only in Pelham but in the rest of the region, I was not able to go out and get little cards. So I asked my wife for her recipe cards. So I wrote down the notes on the recipe cards, and will now make the speech. 5 easy steps to make a flaky pie crust. Oh, sorry. That obviously should have been an empty card that I got. Okay, now into the speech. This is an exciting evening. As I've said, this is my 3rd inaugural event. I still consider it, I'm still excited throughout the day. It's a new council. We have new team members, and these team members will bring new perspectives, new ideas, and I believe they will bring the same level of commitment to the residents and the community as I have experienced on all previous councils. This council, of course, has a more conventional makeup than we did back in 2018 when we had 6 new councilors and 1 new mayor. I believe this is like I say, in this age, this 2022, we have 3 new teammates, 3 new counselors, and 3 old counselors. Oh, wait, not old, experienced counselors. So I'm looking forward to great debate around the horseshoe, and I'm looking forward to, with this counselor, to continue moving this town ahead and making it a better place to live. Excuse me while I get caught up here. We have many, not problems, let's say tasks ahead of us. One of our first tasks is going to be the strategic plan. This council in February will be sitting down with staff. We spend the day coming up with new initiatives, new objectives together that council will direct staff on whether it be 20 or 25 objectives, and those objectives will be how we steer the town for the next 4 years. I'm very looking forward to this new strategic plan. I'm sure that, like all municipalities, it will have elements of climate change in it, and simple things as do we plant more trees become the question. Can we afford more trees? What kind of trees you plant? Where do you plant them? And are we doing the right job in planting them? So even a simple thing like that morphs into a healthy discussion down the road. And again, I'm looking forward to that. Also, of course, many other things to be discussed. Stormwater management ponds. Do we have to, should we be fencing them? Do we use man-made fences? Do we use vegetation fences? Many discussions, and those are just very few that I can think of. The first task, of course, is going to be the budget of 2023. If inflation at 6.9 or close to 7%, maybe even over 7%, it'll be a very challenging budget for this council to come up with. Will there have to be cuts in the capital budget? Will we have to cut services to the people, the residences? Will we have to change the programs? All these decisions will have to be made by the new council. Finally, in closing, I would just like to state that myself, I put my name forward because I enjoyed working with staff both at the town level and the region. I enjoy working with council. I'm looking forward to the many evenings that we will be discussing town business and the decisions we will make to continue to move this town forward and to make it a better place to live. And I know I talk and I speak on behalf of all councilors. That is their commitment to you, the residents, to make decisions that will benefit the town and the community. That's it. Thank you very much for your attention. Thanks.
Mr. Mayor. Through you, Mr. Mayor, thank you. We are now at the approval of the agenda. I do have a motion put forth by Councillor Olson, seconded by Councillor Eckhart. Be it resolved that the agenda for the 2022 to 2026 Council inaugural meeting be and is hereby approved. To you, Mr. Mayor, for any discussion.
After hearing the agenda items, any discussion from council members? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will call the vote. The vote begins with Councillor Eckhart.
Yes.
Councillor Hildebrandt.
Yes.
Councillor Kerr.
Yes.
Councillor Niznik. Councillor Olson.
Yes.
Councillor Wink.
Yes.
Mayor Junkin.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That does carry. Mr. Mayor, that does bring us to the disclosure of pecuniary interests and the general nature thereof.
Council, after viewing the agenda, is there any pecuniary interest to be declared by any member? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. I shall so note. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I do have a motion put forth by Councillor Niznik, seconded by Councillor Wink. Be it resolved that Council receive Report 2022-0269 Clerks, Selection process for deputy mayor for information, and that council directs staff to return to council on December 5th, 2022 to determine an option to proceed with to select a deputy mayor for the town of Pelham. To you, Mr. Mayor, for discussion.
Okay. Any discussion on this item from any member of council? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This vote begins with Councillor Hildebrandt,
Yes.
Councillor Kerr,
Yes.
Councillor Niznik, Councillor Olson,
Yes.
Councillor Wink,
Yes.
Councillor Eckhart,
Yes.
Mayor Junkin.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That does carry. Mr. Mayor, I have a motion put forth by Councillor Hildebrandt, seconded by Councillor Kerr. Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and passed, being bylaw number 4498/2022 to adopt, ratify, and confirm the proceedings of council of the town of Pelham at its regular meeting held on the 21st day of November 2022. To you, Mr. Mayor, for discussion.
Thank you. Any questions, comments by any member of council? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This vote begins with Councillor Kerr,
Yes.
Councillor Niznik, Councillor Olson,
Yes.
Councillor Wink,
Yes.
Councillor Eckhart,
Yes.
Councillor Hildebrandt,
Yes.
Mayor Junkin.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That does carry. I do have a motion put forth by Councillor Eckhart, seconded by Councillor Hildebrandt. Be it resolved that this inaugural meeting of council be adjourned until the next regular meeting scheduled for December 5th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. To you, Mr. Mayor, for discussion.
Thank you. Any comments from any member of council? Not seeing any.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This vote begins with Councillor Niznik, Councillor Olson, Councillor Wink,
Yes.
Councillor Eckhart,
Yes.
Councillor Hildebrandt,
Yes.
Councillor Kerr,
Yes.
Mayor Junkin.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That does carry. It is 6:03, and you can gavel out your meeting.
Bang.
Thank you.
Before we do, Madam Clerk, this is obviously the shortest meeting we'll probably ever have. Are you willing to go on record as saying that the other meetings will be close as this, or do you think they will be longer?
Perhaps slightly longer to you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would ask that council in the gallery please stand for the retiring colors. Thank you. Thank you, and please enjoy the reception.